Okay, so thank you so much, everybody who has so far joined this session. This is my second presentation. I have done as the role of moderator sometimes with Dr. Sab and Dr. Sabil is presenting, and I got the opportunity to present for the pilgrimage of Hajj last time. I think 3 weeks back, I did that presentation, and we discussed. I just want to recap what we did last time because it kind of loosely connects to the today's session. The today's session is actually an outcome of the previous sessions. This was the previous session. As Zach mentioned, if you do get a chance, you can go to the recording, which is on the YouTube channel, and check it out. We actually reviewed a little bit of history of the Arabs, the geographical location of the two cities, Mecca and Medina, and a little introduction of the Islam and who are Muslims. And then we went in the story of Abraham and Ishmael, which was exclusively for the Muslim side of the story, not comparing with a little bit of the Bible's version as well. And then we went to the visuals of the Hajj and the Mecca and Medina. And I believe because we went into Mecca and Medina and the Hajj, and the topic of Jerusalem actually came about, and we went into a deep discussions about Israel and Palestine. So there was curiosity among the folks to know more about it. I'm not a tour guide at all. I don't claim to be a tour guide. These are my personal vlogs that I'm sharing with you. I have visited these places, and I'm kind of made some videos out of it, and just sharing with you guys because you probably don't get a chance to go to these places very often. I mean, the only way you have to go to Mecca and Medina is just to become a Muslim, and there's no other way to go there. So that's why I'm kind of sharing as a Muslim to you all, so that you get to know and experience what we experience as well, the spiritual side of the places. Today's presentation, let me switch over. I'm going to go to another slide here. So this is my today's presentation. It's going to be on Jerusalem, Hebron, and Istanbul. We're going to cover 3 cities. I'm going to try to connect a little bit of history with all the videos and the picture that I'm going to be sharing. I am not like Richard. He's an expert in history. Probably he can, if you have any questions with very specific questions to such certain era or certain individual, then I believe Richard might be able to answer that question to you better than me. I am all these things which I'm going to be sharing with you from history are my own personal opinions based on my research and observations. And if there might be a situation where you guys might have a disagreement with me, and I'm okay with that. We can have a disagreement and still learn on the other side of the coin as well. So without any further ado, I'm going to mention one more disclaimer is that if you do have a question or you have something, you can stop me during the presentation, and then I can clarify or answer that, try to answer it. And the videos and the pictures that I'm going to be sharing, the videos specifically don't have any audio. I have muted the audio, but I will be commenting while the video is actually getting presented. I just want to make sure that you guys are able to see my screen and also my video, my visual as well. Can you see me? And the voice is clear. Somebody can confirm.
Confirm. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. All right, so let's start with Jerusalem first. Jerusalem is actually shared between Israel and Palestine, so that's kind of a shared place. But Hebron is specifically in Palestine. Istanbul is in Turkey. So we're going to start with a bit of history of Israel and Palestine. So this is the first slide that I have. So Jerusalem basically is a very popular city historically. Also, we have seen people. I'm not going to be watching the chat, by the way. If Zach, there is a question in the chat, you might have to read out that for me. Okay. So I will be just presenting and sharing you the videos and pictures. So you will see only this screen or the video, or sometimes I use this board to draw certain things to explain some things. So I will switch back and forth. So like I said, Jerusalem, for the 3 main religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. It's a very important city historically, because all these three religions believes in the prophets that have come in the past. Starting with Adam, peace be upon him. We have Abraham being the first division between these faiths. He's actually the merger point for all these three faiths. Abraham, peace be upon him. And then from Abraham, we have two sons, Isaac and Ishmael. From the lineage of Ishmael, peace be upon him, we have Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who actually brought about Islam. We don't say that he brought Islam. Islam was there since Adam, peace be upon him, came into existence. But if you want to differentiate, yes, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is actually the prophet of Islam, the main prophet of Islam. He is the leader of all the prophets. And from the lineage of Isaac, we have Jacob and Joseph and Judah, the tribes, the 12 tribes of Judah. And then we have Moses coming from those tribes, and we have Judaism coming into existence from that lineage. And further down the line, we have Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, coming from that lineage through Mary, peace be upon her. And we have Christianity from there. So this is a little bit of history. Now, additional information I'm going to give you. The city of Jerusalem specifically was ruled by many before Abraham came into existence. It was ruled by other tribes which were not Abrahamic tribes. And historically, if I have to highlight some groups that have actually ruled over Jerusalem, Canaanites originally were the one who actually used to live in Jerusalem. And then Judah, after Jacob, the tribes of Judah and his progeny used to live in Jerusalem. We say, as Muslims, we say that all the prophets actually did come to Jerusalem as well as Makkah. Both places are very important. They have visited both places, all the prophets. Then after that, Romans actually took over Jerusalem. They actually destroyed the temple of Solomon. Solomon was another prophet recognized by Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, all three religions. He built a temple on the highest point in Jerusalem, and that is where the conflict actually is. So Romans actually destroyed that temple. Then after that, the Crusades took over. The Umayyad Khilafah, the caliphs of Umayyads actually took over after that. Then they transferred that to Ottoman caliphs, and these are the ones I'm mentioning because they ruled the most longer duration in the Jerusalem area. So so Muslims and Christians and Jews, they used to live in the area peacefully, while Jews, most of the Jews were prosecuted by the Romans, and they kind of spread out to the northern part of Europe area, because there a lot of atrocities were put over the Jews, and they had to leave that area. So the Jews went away from that place. And after the role of Umayyad and Ottoman, Muslims kind of started living that place. So Muslims have been living there for centuries and centuries. And then the history in this 19th century especially takes a big turn. And and that's where the conflict arises, and still the conflict is existing, and it has not been resolved. Now, I'm going to go to the next slide and talk about the conflict itself. And these are some pictures I'm going to show you. It might take 5 minutes for me to go over the conflict because it's a very deep subject to talk about. So in the beginning, the Balfour Declaration happened in 1917, after the Ottoman Empire actually lost its power, and then British took over the area of Palestine. It was originally known in Arabic as Palestine. So when the British took over, because of the Jewish diaspora in the European region and the influence to the British, they actually allowed the Jews who were living in that area, who actually fled from the region of Palestine, and they started living in the European countries. They allowed them to come back to these areas. And you can see the population was 6% in 1917, when British allowed the Jews to come back to area of Palestine. So this was in 1917, the Balfour Declaration, very famously known as. Then the next thing that happened, obviously the Jews started buying properties within the area, and the percentage of the Jews living in that area has increased to 33% from 1918 to 1947. Okay. So you can see the map in the green color is Palestine, and then the blue color is Jerusalem. Sorry, the Jews. Then in 1947, the UN came because the conflict kind of population of Jews increased, and the UN came into play, and they said that we have to have something like a two-state solution where a percentage of land is given to the Jews and the percentage of land is given to the Arabs. So there was a vote. You can see on the side there was a vote made by in the council, and the vote was in favor of having these divisions within this controversial area. So you can see that the 55% of the historic Palestine was given to the Jews and 45 was given to the Arabs. But originally it was all, Muslims, majority Muslims, and then Christians and Jews also living at the same time. But the division happened at that point. Then the next year, 1948, because the Jews had a lot of provisions from other countries like United States, who used to give them aid to help them grow as a country. With that help from other European countries and also United States, they kind of had the power to defend themselves and also militarize themselves. And therefore, due to the conflict, a lot of Palestinians were expelled from the places where actually were owned by Palestine, and they became refugees in Jordan as well as in Egypt and other Syrian areas. So this is known as the Nakba, Day of Nakba, where in Arabic it's known as Nakba, originally translated as the Day of Catastrophe, where the Palestinians lost their land and became refugees. Then comes the next one, is the occupation of the West Bank, where Israel, because Israel was trying to take over a lot of land, it was attacked by Egypt and also Jordan, and then Israel had militarized itself already, so it kind of defended and took over some part of the Egypt area. Also, Gaza was kind of sealed off, and also some part of Syria was also taken at that time. So, but obviously, after some time, it was later given back, but Israel kind of controlled that area to a certain duration. Again, there were a lot of Palestinians expelled due to all these wars that are going around. Again, I am not a perfect historian on this. Richard might be able to present a better version of this, but I'm just giving you what I know so far. So the Oslo Convention happened when Yasser Arafat was leading the Palestinian revolution. So they signed an agreement there where the area of a conflict where the West Bank was actually divided into three parts. You can see the map here. The green color is under Palestinian control, which was only 15%, and under Israel and Palestine control, 22%, and under Israel control, it was 60%. So PLO is the Palestinian Liberation Organization, actually, who had an agreement in the Oslo Accords with Israel. Going to the next slide here. Then what happened was, obviously, after all these boundaries that were set by the UN, the international laws come into play as well. Israel kind of continuously violated all those international laws. It is still doing that, by the way, and kind of Israeli settlers were taking over the places which were owned by Palestine. So this report is from 2017, by the way. By now, probably a lot of Israeli settlers might have come into come in the area of the conflict. But it says that between 600,000 to 750,000 Israeli settlers living in at least 250 settlements in the occupied West Bank and the East Jerusalem, which is actually violation of all the international laws. And then they started building a wall actually in areas which were not owned by Israel. So you can see the green is the international boundary that is set, but they actually drew some walls within the regions which were not owned by Israel. And then within those, I've been to like these checkpoints that they have, where they do extensive checking of all the Palestinians that have access to those routes. Even I was actually, when we were traveling, so even I had to show my passport and check all the bags at these checkpoints that are owned by Israel, mostly Israel. And obviously, if you see the construction of the highways that Israel owns versus the roadways that Palestine owns, there is a huge amount of difference. The highways which Israel has is well built and they are modern, while Palestinians actually travel with very underdeveloped kind of roads. And it's not really a modern day of construction for Palestinian people. And these checkpoints actually add, and each checkpoint might have a duration of wait time. The busiest that are highlighted here. If you're coming from Jordan, entering into Israel, and if you're a Palestinian, because I have Palestinian friends, it'll take at least 4 to 8 hours for you to get inside the port of, inside the country. So there are refugee camps outside Israel and Palestine region in Lebanon and in Jordan and Syria. There are refugee camps within the region also. You can see these official camps that are there where Palestinian refugees live. Okay, the city that we are going to explore today is Jerusalem, and that's what I have the videos for. And this city has been divided into two sections. One is West Jerusalem and East Jerusalem. And the old city is where the holy sites are there. Um, where East Jerusalem is majority Palestinian people live there, and West Jerusalem or Israeli people live there. Um, the Palestinians who are Israeli citizens, I mean, I won't say citizens, they have a green card kind of an arrangement for themselves. They are not allowed to become citizens for some reason, and they have access to both areas, but obviously they have to show some kind of an identity when they are moving around these places. All right, so let's go to the old city of Jerusalem. It has 4 quarters and one main section. The number one is where the Masjid al-Aqsa, the mosque, is there. And within that, on the side of that Masjid al-Aqsa, number two is where the Western Wall is, where the Jews actually stand and pray. The Muslim have access to Masjid al-Aqsa and also the Dome of the Rock, which we will be seeing in the videos. When I went to Jerusalem, I stayed near the Muslim quarters near the Damascus Gate. This is where I was staying, but I did go to Christian quarters and explored the Holy Church of Sepulchre, and I went to the Jewish quarters to see the Western Wall. So these are the three areas I checked out. I did not go to the Armenian quarters. I did not have enough time to explore that region, but hopefully next time when I go, I will definitely will explore that as well, because there is a cathedral there actually, and also maybe a city of Bethlehem also, where it is believed that Jesus was born in that region, and there is a Garden of Gethsemane also in Bethlehem. So hopefully next time when I go, I will be exploring that as well. And exploring more about the Masjid al-Aqsa, the compound itself, there are multiple entries to get into the compounds. I believe I counted like 7 entries altogether. Not all the entries are open for everybody, but 2 main entrances from the side and from the front where people actually enter. There are checkposts where Israeli military always stands there to verify who's coming in and who's going out. Number 3, what you see here is the Masjid al-Aqsa, the mosque. The Dome of the Rock is here, number 2. and the number 1 is the compound, and the western wall is number 4. So we will see all those visuals as well. Lastly, I just want to mention about the Gaza, which is actually an open prison where anything that goes inside will be checked by the Israeli army, which stands at the gates to verify what's going in and out. Hamas, they say that Hamas has terrorist organizations here. My personal opinion is that Hamas is just a scapegoat that they use to kill the civilians, uh, through their powerful machineries, by the way. So this is a little bit about the blockade of Gaza Strip. All right, so let me go to the next slide now. This was the conflict, which was controversial. And like I said, please feel free to disagree, no problem with me. But this is what I researched and found out from my end. Okay, so what are we going to see today? So we're going to see we're going to see the Masjid al-Aqsa, which is also known as Al-Quds. We will go to Hebron and see Masjid Ibrahim. The place, Masjid Ibrahim, is a place where the graves of Prophet Abraham, Prophet Isaac, and their wives is there. There is also grave of Jacob and Joseph also there, but that section was closed for me and I could not go there. Masjid al-Buraq is actually next to Masjid al-Aqsa. I will show that video as well. I went to Holy Sepulchre, the Western Wall. I'm sorry, there's a typo here. There should be a Western Wall. And then walking in the streets of Jerusalem and the lower section of Masjid al-Aqsa. I think some of you guys got a chance to see that last time when I presented about the Hajj. So we're gonna be watching all that. So I'm gonna be switching over. So I'm gonna go and go to my videos now. So I'm gonna start with this one here. Like I said, there is no audio. And this video is uploaded on my YouTube channel. It's open to public. Some videos, most of the bloggings I do is not open to public because those are my personal works, but this one is open. So this is inside of Masjid al-Aqsa. You can see there is the center dome here, a lot of calligraphy and Islamic the way of writing the calligraphy is the architecture is mostly Islamic, obviously. And this is the inside. The non-Muslims are not allowed to go inside. They do get a chance to visit from 11 to 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. On a daily basis, only 2 hours to check out the area. They are not allowed in this particular section, but they are allowed in the Dome of the Rock to go inside and take visuals from inside. But this masjid is exclusively for Muslims only. Since I am a Muslim, I was here taking the video from inside. It's a massive mosque. Obviously, it's not the size of Masjid al-Haram in Mecca and all Masjid Medina, Masjid Nabawi. This second video is from Hebron. So we are in Hebron now. So this is Masjid al-Ibrahim, which is in Hebron in Palestine. And this is the entrance of that particular mosque. There are shoe racks because inside the mosque, the shoes are not allowed. So everybody has to leave their shoes in these racks and go inside barefoot or wearing a socks, no problem. So this is the entrance. Right at the entrance, when I turn around, you will see one grave. The front that you see, this one is the grave of Sarah, peace be upon her, who was actually the first wife of Abraham, peace be upon him. And Abraham had two wives. One is Sarah, and the other one is Hagar. From Hagar, she had Ishmael, and obviously Prophet Muhammad from his lineage. From Sarah, he had Isaac. And when we go inside the mosque, you will see massive two graves inside the mosque. The first one is of the wife of Isaac. Her name is Rebecca. In Arabic, it's Rebecca, but in Christian version, it's Rebecca. So this is the wife of Isaac, the grave of the wife. Obviously, the grave is underneath. She's not buried there, but it's underneath. It's inside there. And this particular grave is of Isaac. This is the mosque, the front portion of the mosque where the imam will lead. And this is the grave of Isaac. Now, I cannot confirm whether this is true or not, but this is what is the locals believe out there, and I have to take their word, whatever they are saying. And then I went to another section. There was something interesting here. It's called Ghar Sharif. In Arabic, it's mentioned as Ghar Sharif, which means known as the noble cave. And the importance of this particular cave is that, the graves are, you can see the graves on the top, but actually they are buried 16 feet down somewhere. So that is a Ghar Sharif. People, if they have to go access that area, they have to go down. So this is the grave of Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him. Um, and I will show you something very interesting. So this is the grave of Abraham, Prophet Abraham. And it's mentioned here, Ibrahim Khalil Allah alayhi salam. So Khalil is the name of another name of Abraham, peace be upon him, mentioned in the Holy Quran. So as I was entering this room, you can see this section here, which is blocked, right? So behind this curtain, it's a wall actually. Behind this wall, there is graves of Joseph and Jacob. Jacob being the father and Joseph being the son. So both the prophets are also buried on the other side of this wall. Muslims are not allowed to go there, by the way. So this is owned by the Israeli section of people. So only Jews are allowed to go in that area. So Muslims are allowed to go to the graves of the Abraham as well as Isaac, but they are not allowed to go on the other side. So I did ask the security if they can let me there, but they did not allow me to do so. This is the mosque um, where the prayer happens. It's daily prayers, 5 daily prayers, also the Friday prayer in the afternoon. This is where the Imam will lead. And on the right side, you will see a raise where actually the Imam will stand and give the sermon. So I just took some video of that. So this is Masjid Ibrahim, which is in Hebron. And because it loosely connects to the presentation I made last time about the story of Abraham. So it's a good kind of a link between the two presentations that I made. It's a very small mosque. It's not a big mosque. So this is Masjid al-Aqsa. All these videos are mine, by the way. These are all shot by me. And these are all my personal vlogs. And this is the Dome of the Rock. So during the sunrise, you can see it's very peaceful and beautiful when it's sunrise. So this is the Masjid al-Aqsa, the main mosque where Muslims go and pray. But the Dome of the Rock is also a mosque, by the way. This is the Western Wall. Because I had an American passport, they allowed me to come here. Otherwise, there is no chance that I was going to be getting access to this place. They made sure, they checked everything that I had. Just to make sure I'm not something threatful over here, and they allowed me to go and take some videos. Even after going there, a security guard comes in and asks me, show me your passport. And I say, okay, yeah, sure. So it was quite an experience. When I landed in Jerusalem, when I landed in Tel Aviv, my wife and my daughters actually were with me during that trip. They were cleared without any issues, but I was actually held for 45 minutes just to verify, that I'm not something they think they are. So it was quite an experience. I don't blame them. They are just doing their job, but there is some kind of a discrimination, I would say, that happens. You can see they are reading the Torah and they are holding the wall, and within those sections of the wall, there is some white papers that they are kind of inserting after reading it. I asked the locals over there, and they told me that it's the portion of Torah that they read and they put it inside. Probably they tear it from the book and put it inside, I guess, or they have some kind of a special prayer that they want to be answered. And these papers that are there, they are actually taken out and buried in the Mount Olive. There's another section I didn't go, actually, unfortunately, is the Temple of Solomon section, which is below the Masjid al-Aqsa. This is the side of the Masjid al-Aqsa. You can see this ramp here. This ramp actually takes to the Temple of Solomon, which, there are a lot of digging going on still there, by the way. So it is a temple that Jews believe that the Temple of Solomon is buried there. And this video is about the Church of Holy Sepulchre. So originally built by the first Constantine the First, the great emperor, the Constantine, who was actually becoming Christian later on. So he was originally Roman, but actually became Christian. So he got a dream that where the cross appeared to him. So he actually spoke to his mother Helen, and they searched for the site of the actual crucifixion of Jesus Christ and also the burial, and they found this place, back in the 4th century. So this that you see right there is actually a place where the information that I got was the body of Jesus after the crucifixion was laid down here. I did see some kind of blood also there. I'm not sure it was real or not, but there was some kind of a blood there. And this is the actual physical location where the cross, the crucifixion of Jesus Christ happened, according to the information that I got. The church itself is built in a very Roman style of architecture. So the body was placed after he died. We don't believe that he died, but after he died, the body was placed in that plate that you see on the down. I did take some pictures. I will show you the pictures after we are done with the videos, by the way. So not sure exactly what all rituals are performed here, but people were doing a lot of things. There was a huge line just to take the blessing from the cross, the main cross. I didn't go to the line, obviously, and I just took some videos here. So if you go further down this way, there is the tomb where the Jesus was buried. So there is an empty tomb actually, which I couldn't take a video, unfortunately. I really apologize for that. But this is all on the internet as well. You can Google it. So this Holy Church sepulcher has two things. One is the place where he was crucified and his body was placed, and second one is where he was buried in the tomb. So the tomb is empty, but it is there. So this is the Dome of the Rock. So apart from Masjid al-Aqsa, this is the Dome of the Rock, the interior of the Dome of the Rock. And I apologize for the shaky video. This is the dome itself. A lot of architecture here and Islamic calligraphy. The verses of the Holy Quran are engraved within the dome itself. Uh, all this, the verses of the Holy Quran are listed here. This is the inside, and this is the actual rock. So the story behind the Dome of the Rock is from the Muslim version. Why this is auspicious to us is that there is an incident that happened with Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, where he actually traveled from Mecca all the way to Jerusalem, and then from Jerusalem, from this rock itself, he actually went to the seventh heaven and met Allah, God over there. So this was the actual place where he actually ascended to the heavens from this particular rock. There was a special kind of a carriage that was brought for him to go from there. The name of that carriage was Buraq. It was an animal with a speed of light, kind of a traveling speed. And below the rock, there was a small prayer area. There is no significance of this area, but I could see some women praying here and also men on the other side. So this is below the rock itself. So he ascended to the heaven. He first traveled from Mecca all the way to Jerusalem, prayed here, and with all the other prophets also in their spiritual bodies. And he descended from this rock all the way to the heavens and met Allah and came back to Mecca on that same Buraq. So there is a mosque next to Masjid al-Aqsa known as Masjid al-Buraq, which is the name of that animal that was brought to take Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So the front section is for the men, and the back section is for the women. You can see that the women were praying there, but there was some kind of a renovation going on at that time when I went. Sorry about the shakiness of the video. As I'm walking, I'm taking the video. I really apologize if you feel dizzy, but I was just trying to walk and take video at the same time. And I did not have, this was back in 2017 that I took this video. So my iPhone was, I think, iPhone 7 at that time. So you have better quality of iPhones now. So a lot of children I see in Palestine, a lot of children, and a lot of cats as well. I don't have a picture of a cat, by the way, sorry. All right, keep going. This is a guy who actually distributes tea every day. He gets tea for the people. It's all free, okay? So, and the tea was a ginger tea. And because it was very cold, it actually helps with the sore throat. I really liked it a lot, and that shows you how generous the Palestinian people are. So they actually, this is all for the public for free every day. He used to get it every day. I was very shocked by that, because I stayed there for 7 days, and he was there distributing the tea every day at the same time. These are the streets of Jerusalem, the old city. When you have to walk towards the mosque, these are the pavement and the passages that you have to go through. It feels like you are in a different era, a different century altogether when you're kind of walking in these areas. It's very old. This is coming from the Damascus Gate, by the way. I take the Damascus Gate to walk through. There is a market all section also. I'm not sure if I have a video. Let me see if I have it. But I think there is a video about the market section. But this is Muslim quarters. Okay, so this is still on the Muslim quarter side. I took a video on the Christian quarters as well. I think I have that in here. So you can see the Dome of the Rock on the top, visible to you. And once you cross this passage, there is a checkpoint. Obviously, the Israeli soldiers are there. You have to make sure that you verify, you show your passport to get inside. If I don't carry my passport, I will be in trouble, by the way. This is the masjid, which I said, the Masjid al-Buraq, which is on the right side of Masjid al-Aqsa. And the importance of this this mosque is that the animal which actually took Prophet Muhammad from Jerusalem, from Mecca to Jerusalem, and from Jerusalem to the heavens, was actually standing here just waiting for him to do his formalities and prayers before he departed. So the local said, this particular person said me that he was actually parked here. You can park your car, right? Just like you park your car, the animal was also parked here. You tie the knot. You know, the horses were tied to a certain thing, right? Just like that. This animal was also parked like that. Behind this wall is the Western Wall, where the Jews stand and pray. And that was my daughter. Okay, going back, the same walkways, very historic, very ancient kind of walkways, which is some kind of an experience. I'm going to skip through this. Might be boring. Okay, so here comes the lower section of Masjid al-Aqsa. Sorry. Yeah, so this is below. You saw the upper section, by the way, and this is the lower section. The original Masjid al-Aqsa built at the time of Omar, the Caliph Omar. And the importance obviously here is that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, actually prayed at this very particular location. And behind him were all the other prophets praying behind him. So this mosque, obviously, because it was ancient, not a lot of people go here. Mostly people go on the upper floor to pray. But on Fridays, this is open. So I was lucky enough to be witnessing a Friday there. So on Friday, when the mosque is full, the lower section is open for other people to actually come and pray here. So this is, you can see here the older construction, and then to support the new construction, some additional pillars were built around the old pillars just to support the roof there. And there is actually a well of oil, because in olden days there was no electricity. So they used to have a well of oil just to make sure that there is light in the mosque. And if people come here during the evening prayers, there is some kind of a light in the mosque. So they donate, basically the people used to donate the money to buy the oil, and therefore that reservoir is still there. People actually used to get the oil and put there. So this is actually library. It was closed. This section is actually a library. So there's nothing important there. So you can see here the pillars. There's old pillar and then the new pillars built around it just to support the upper section. And then this is the original place where the imam used to lead in the olden days. So I'm going to show you the well. So this is the reservoir. I mean, hopefully I can walk through. Yeah, so this is the reservoir for the oil, where people used to either donate money for the oil or get the oil itself and then just dump it over here, and it can be used for the mosque. So it's still there. There is some oil you can see down below. Um, Good thing that they preserved it. All right, so I guess that's basically, yeah. Yeah, so some other sections of the mosque. So that's basically my videos. Okay, so these are the timings of the prayer. I just took a picture just to make sure that I arrive on time for 5 times. The sixth one is this one 6:36 is the sunrise time. So you cannot pray at the sunrise. That's why it's mentioned clearly here. But there are other times where you have to come and pray. So these are the timings. This is the grave of Sarah, the first wife of Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him. This is the grave of Rebecca, which is Rebecca, the wife of Isaac, peace be upon him. And then this is the grave of Isaac, peace be upon him. And then this grave of the Abraham, peace be upon him. This is the Masjid Ibrahim, the front portion where the Imam leads. And this is the entrance of the walkway entrance of the mosque itself, the steps that leads to the mosque, inside the mosque. And then obviously you saw this in the video. The Ghar Sharif, this is another video, by the way. The Ghar Sharif, like I said, the graves are underneath. So you have to go down. This is locked, obviously. You have to go down 16 feet down below, and the graves are 16 feet. And you can see that there are 4 candles lit at the bottom. I don't know who goes there, but that's what I got from the locals. So 2 prophets, I mean, actually 4 prophets. So we have Isaac, Abraham, Joseph, and Jacob, all buried in the same, very close to each other. This was the Imam that led the prayer. So I took a selfie with him. Another Imam for another time. This was the guy who actually brought the tea on a daily basis. This was for the wall from my hotel, actually, the where I stayed, the front view. This was the wall for the Damascus Gate. Very ancient wall. This was the Western Wall, where the Jews stand and pray here. There is some information of that Western Wall. Yeah, this video here is actually from the Christian quarters where I was actually just walking past through. Go to the Holy Sepulchre. You can see the marketplace here, and there are lot of clothes as well as effigies, the Christian effigies you can buy here, and a lot of food. Um, the shawarma, obviously, the best of the food that we have. So yeah, three communities living together. It was amazing experience. You can walk through one lane, you will see a lot of Muslims, and then you walk through another lane, you see a lot of Christians, and then you walk through another lane, you see a lot of Jews. Um, so these are some Christian nuns walking. A lot of good memories from Jerusalem, old city. I'm very glad that I went, and I will go back again. Okay, so this picture I took is from the Holy Sepulchre, actually. The interesting thing about this one is that this is a rock. You can see the frame here, this rock here. So I asked the nun who was standing there, what is the significance of this place? And she said me that this is where Jesus Christ was actually lashed. So this was the place. And she was crying, actually, standing there. This is the Dome of the Rock, uh, the front view. And this is the Damascus Gate where I go through. So this is a lot of protests that you see that happens in the news. They happen here, actually. So this is the Damascus Gate on the Muslim quarters. A lot of people don't know, but on the side of Masjid al-Aqsa, there is actually a small museum, which is there. Nobody actually pays attention to that museum. So there is an Islamic museum here on the side, which is very interesting. But I took a picture of a coin. Actually, this is a signature, actually, the seal of a Sufi order of Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani. Probably Richard knows about him. This is a Sufi saint who was actually one of the noble persons in Ottoman Empire. So, and I have a lot of people actually who believe in him to be a saint. I actually, my lineage actually comes through him. So I'm from his lineage, by the way, Abdul Qadir Jilani. This is the lower section of the Masjid al-Aqsa. All right, so I think these are all the pictures that I had for Jerusalem. Let me see did we miss anything? No, I think I covered all of the Jerusalem section. But yeah, any questions you can take that later. Let's go to Istanbul. Um, um, Zach, I'm sorry, you might be disappointed, but I don't have a lot of history for the Istanbul. But I'm gonna share whatever I know at this point. So obviously, the Turkey originally was known as Anatolia. The region of Turkey, its modern day Turkey, was Anatolia. And a lot of people actually ruled in that area. The Hittite Empire was basically in the BC era. Most of the people that they live in that region. I also saw some information that Trojan War actually happened in Turkey. So not sure exactly if it's true or not, but I did read somewhere about that. So I put a question mark on that. And then the Alexander the Great actually crossed also that Anatolia region. Byzantine Roman Empire actually conquered that region and ruled for quite some time. The modern day Istanbul used to be known as Constantinople at that time when Roman Empire, Byzantine Empire was ruling there, and that was the capital actually. After that, the Crusades also came into Turkey as well, but then a lineage from the Kai tribes with Ottoman as the leader, Ottoman Empire actually took over and they ruled for like 500 to 600 years. Um, I have to talk about the Khilafah. There is Caliphate, Islamic Caliphate, which is kind of linking this uh, history of Turkey. So Ottoman was one of the caliph of Muslims. Okay, so this might give you a little idea about how the leadership transferred. So when Prophet Muhammad was there, so he was the head of the state and he was the leader. When he passed away, The next leader that came about was, I'm going to draw 2 lines, by the way. I'm just going to tell you why I drew that. The first leader, according to Muslim version, is Abu Bakr, being the first caliph. And after that came Umar, being the second caliph. And after that, Uthman, actually, these are all companions of the Prophet, became the third caliph. Then Ali, according to the Shia version, Ali should be the first caliph because they say that Prophet Muhammad gave the caliphate to Ali. But according to the Sunni version, Ali is the fourth caliph. So Ali, I drew Ali here, also Ali here. But we do believe that Ali was the caliph. After Ali, his son Hassan actually took over and he was caliph for some duration. Then after Hassan, uh, Muawiyah became the fifth caliph, and he's the person who actually was the founder of Umayyad Khilafat. So this is the first person actually to initiate the Umayyad Khilafat. Obviously, by this time, Islam has expanded from the Arab region all the way to the Spain. So it has expanded a lot at that time. After that, the Abbasid took over. And after that, the Fatimids took over. These are all the caliph eras that we have. So Umayyad actually ruled for like 200, Abbasid for 700, Fatimids for like 100 years. Um, there was another caliphate. I'm forgetting the name actually. Uh, Ayyubids. Ayyubids actually were there for 200 years, I would say. And after that, there came Ottoman. Okay, so this is the lineage of the caliphate from Islamic point of view. So that's how it happened. So that's why we say that the Ottoman Empire was the last caliphate. Mustafa Kemal Ataturk was the last caliph, and he actually abolished the Khilafah system, which was for centuries followed by Muslims. So some historical highlights of Turkey. So that was abolished in 1925. So from that point of time, Turkey became a republic, actually. Otherwise, there is Sharia law at that in this area. Okay, so what are we going to explore today? So in Turkey, Istanbul, I'm going to show you the Galata Tower, where the view of the whole Istanbul is very clear and it's a beautiful view. Then we're going to go to the Sultan Mehmet, the Blue Mosque. Inside of the Blue Mosque, very beautiful mosque actually. Then I took a boat ride from Bosphorus, and then I went to a grave of a companion of the Prophet Muhammad. His name is Abu Ayyub Ansari, who actually moved from Medina all the way to this place and stayed there until he passed away. Then I'm going to show you some videos about the Turkish food and the Turkish bazaar, where you can find a lot of spices. Pictures. Okay, so this is Sultan Mehmet, the Blue Mosque. Inside, I had a panoramic view of this beautiful mosque, and you can see how massive chandeliers are. This is one of the domes I took a video of. The architecture is absolutely beautiful. The Taj Mahal in India, the Taj Mahal actually has an inspiration. The designer of that Taj Mahal was a Turkish architect, actually. So that's why you will see that the pillars are very much similar and the architecture is similar. This is a chandelier. Obviously, people are praying here. You can see people are lined up praying here. Go to the next. I took a video of the Blue Mosque inside. I'm starting off with the inside, then I'll go to the outside. So this is the view. I believe there are 26 domes altogether in this Blue Mosque. So there are domes outside and then there are domes inside. So this is the view from the inside. The visitors are allowed here, but they are not allowed after some point. Like there is a restriction area. Only Muslims are allowed to go after that restriction area. So me being a Muslim, I was allowed to go and take pictures, like standing there in the front. Okay, so another view, this is where the Imam stands and leads. This is where this is known as the mimbar, where he stands and gives the sermon on Fridays. And yeah, that's pretty much. So this is the outside of the Blue Mosque. Like I said, the Taj Mahal has 4 pillars. So this also mosque has a 4 pillar. So a Turkish touch is also there in Taj Mahal, by the way. So this is the front of the Blue Mosque. This is a passage of the bazaar, the Turkish bazaar. I'm not sure how many people have gone to Turkey, but the bazaars are very delightful and so busy, and a lot of spices out there. I took a picture of this food, which is actually not actually the real food. It was some kind of a dummy which is standing there, but nice way of attracting visitors to come and have food inside. This is Topkapı Palace, actually. I found this place to be very boring. In fact, personally, I felt it was very boring because it doesn't have anything exciting except for the clothes of the Sultan, his bed, nothing really like exciting going on. But there were some sections which was exciting, but they don't allow me to take pictures. Okay, let me tell you this. I saw there was one section where actually the stick which Moses used to carry, that stick is in this particular place, Topkapi Palace. And I don't believe it is true, but they claim that this is actually that stick of Moses. So that was very interesting. They didn't allow me to take a picture. Yeah, like I said, Topkapi Palace is actually mostly the lifestyle, how the Sultan used to live, the colonies where he stayed, the bed and the sofas and his the dining area and all that. So this is one section that was open to take pictures. So I took pictures here. Um, Pretty similar to when I went to France. There was a palace out there. I'm not sure what the name was. Chateau de Versailles Palace. This is very similar to that kind of architecture here. So this is the Sultan's, place where people used to gather and talk to the Sultan. A tap from that era. This is the outside of that palace. Hagia Sophia, when I went, was closed. I mean, it was not open for me. Unfortunately, I couldn't go in. Right now, it has been turned into a mosque. That's what I read I saw in the news. But at that time, it was a museum, but it was not open for me to go and visit. So we couldn't go there, unfortunately. So this is Hagia Sophia, which is next to the Blue Mosque, and some steps away, not exactly the same. So this is the Blue Mosque, and next to it is Hagia Sophia. So this is the
Noorul,
Hagia
can I
Sophia.
add a couple of things? Just
Yes.
very short amount. So
Yeah.
Topkapi is the palace where the Sultan of the whole Ottoman Empire, starting with Mehmed II, who conquered Constantinople, subsequently Istanbul, lived up until 18th century, and then it moved to a different place. And I think Noorul's going to touch on it, so I don't want to talk about it. I don't know if you're going to talk about the new palace, which is it's called Gardens. I forget what's the name of the new palace. You remember Noorul?
Yeah.
Where the Sultan lived.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Bacha, something with Namar Bacha, something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, the most important fact of this Topkapi is, according to the Muslim religion, you're supposed to do, well, in Jews, we have something mitzvah. They have something similar like that. So within Topkapi Palace, the Sultan used to gather a lot of the poor people inside the Topkapi Palace and gave them, obviously, food, gave them clothes. So whoever was, malnourished or whatever, he would basically invite it there. Obviously within Topkapi, that's where his harem was, and most importantly, you had touched on the Blue Mosque. Blue Mosque, as you know, that was built by Mehmed II. Mehmed II was the conqueror of the Constantinople. What was important about him when he conquered Constantinople? He was very young. since he was very young and he was already a Khalif at the time, he built an extra pillar, and you'll touch on upon this on the on Blue Mosque. But according to the Muslim religion, you're not allowed to build more than what's in Mecca. Mecca had less pillars, so after the conquest of the Mecca by Ottomans, they had to build extra one in Mecca so that it has more of a significance than the Blue Mosque that was built by Mehmed, who was the youngest ruler that ever entered and became Khalifa of the
Ottoman
of the
Empire.
empire, the Ottoman Empire. Yeah, I just wanted to add that. Sorry, I'm out.
Yeah, yeah. So according to Islam, there are three harams only. One is the Masjid Haram, which is in Mecca. Second one is Masjid Nabawi in Medina, and the third one is Jerusalem Masjid Aqsa. After these three, there is no fourth important mosque at all. So yeah, that's pretty much true. Just to add. Okay, all right. Let's move forward. Hagia Sophia. This is Hagia Sophia. I mean, I'm not sure how many people went to Turkey, but this is the Bosphorus video. Hagia Sophia view from the ship itself. And next to Hagia Sophia, obviously, is the Blue Mosque, which is on the left side. So I might turn the camera and show you. This is both Hagia Sophia. Oh, wrong direction. Okay, maybe I'm turning around. Yeah, so that's the Blue Mosque right there. Very beautiful. Okay, so some pictures of the Bosphorus. And there are a lot of Bosphorus out there. You can if you go to Turkey, you can just hop on any one of them, and you will experience the beauty of the city. So this is the Galata Tower right there. So I will show you a video. This is right in the center of the city, and you get a very good view of the city. I went when I went there. Actually, the prayer was getting called, and you can hear the prayer call from all directions coming to you, which was very beautiful, amazing. Some other pictures from the Bosphorus. I'm gonna skip through all these pictures, okay? And the sunset, obviously, the beautiful sunset view from the Bosphorus. Yeah, a lot of beautiful architecture is in Turkey. I found Turkey to be very cheap and also very beautiful country. It has both Europe and Asian. So it's divided into two, right? The Turkey has comes under European continent and also Asia continent, both of them. So when we were traveling on the Bosphorus, the drivers was mentioning now you were in Asia and now you're in Europe. So there is a division. Yes, this is a video of the sunset from the Bosphorus. It was very cold and also very beautiful at the same time. Turkey has old city and new city. I found that people in the old city are very traditional and very Islamic, while in the new city, when you go to the new city, they kind of you will feel like you're in actually in Europe. So this is the Blue Mosque from the back view. The Turkish food picture. I personally like the chicken only, but not the lamb and the beef. This section here is from the Blue Mosque, inside of the Blue Mosque. Sometimes actually women are allowed to come and pray in this area, small area here. This is the front, and this is the Hagia Sophia picture. I travel through the train as well, the local subway. Some pictures of some sweets. You can see figs, apricot, a lot of nuts over here, and the spices, a lot of spices. We took the saffron, very cheap, actually. And the Turkish delight, you know, don't forget that. And then Hagia Sophia. Oh, this is the Blue Mosque, sorry. Okay, I took a picture of this one. Every store that I went to, I found this strange eye-looking thing hanging in the front of the door. So I asked, what is the reason for this? So it seems that this is to ward off evil, So it's just to not, people should not give you an evil eye. This is known as the eye of the Fatima, where actually they hang it in front of the store so that you don't catch an evil eye. I don't believe that, but this is what they said. So that was very interesting. This is my daughter actually. Um, Turkey, when you go to Turkey, you should get this ice cream that they have, very sticky and slimy ice cream. And they actually play around with the kids and everybody, before they give the actual ice cream. I didn't really like the taste of the ice cream, but it's very thick and very sticky. You probably might have seen this a lot in Facebook or some kind of social medias. This is my other daughter, second one. So both of them were very excited about the ice cream. So they get 3 flavors in it. Okay, let me move on. All right. So there was another mosque um, very close to the Blue Mosque. It was a very small mosque, but again, the design is exactly the same. And the dome, there was only one dome mosque, but it's a smaller version of that Blue Mosque. So everywhere in Istanbul, you will find this kind of same kind of architecture everywhere. So this is a cab that I actually got on Netflix. There is a series that is going on right now, which is known as Ortogrol, and I don't claim that the authenticity of the story is true, but the cap actually is from that show. So I kind of took a picture of that wearing it just to show to my friends. Because a lot of people actually watch that series. It's very addictive. I watched one season, but there are 5 seasons. My wife actually watched the whole 5 seasons actually. So this is the cap for Ertugrul, the Kai tribe. Sure,
So
go ahead.
when Mehmed II entered Istanbul, Constantinople previously, it was part of the Byzantine Empire. As we know, the Byzantine Empire was the eastern representation of the Roman Empire. Right? There's a Western Roman Empire, the Eastern Roman Empire, and so what's interesting when he entered, one of his you would call, I mean, she's not a stepmom, but she was his father's wife, and as you know, the sultans had many wives. She was actually Serbian by uh, and even though she converted to Muslim religion, she was he was respected her so much and almost treated her like a mother. In honor of her respect, when they entered Hagia Sophia and converted to mosque, instead of closing and eradicating completely all of the religious relics, he actually covered it with plaster. And then when Turkey became a republic and it turned into a museum, now it's again a mosque, they opened up the plasters and all the Christian relics from the Orthodoxy and Christian religion was opened up. So that was out of respect to his stepmom and her original religion. He was, so just to show you, he was a very tolerant king, sultan to begin with, even though he was very young. He spoke about 7 languages. He spoke fluent Greek. There's a series, if you guys want to check out, it's called Mehmed II, and it's about conquest of Constantinople, and it's pretty amazing. And it talks about the defense of Constantinople. Don Giovanni, who was hired as a Genovese mercenary to defend Constantinople. Alexandros, the last king, and so really interesting. Again, go on Netflix and check it out. Okay, I'm done. Sorry.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I really apologize, Zach, that I don't have a lot of history background about Turkey, and you guys, you and Richard can probably explain. I wish Richard was here. Richard might have added more information along with you. Okay. Anyway, so this is the Istanbul, the old city. I took a view of the old city from my hotel, which is very interesting. It doesn't look modern. It's pretty old, but at the same time, it's not so bad as well. I mean, it's okay. This is Galata Tower. So, like I said, we went to Galata Tower, which is right at the center uh, of the city, and you have to like go on the top. There's a hotel on the top, and then view from the top. So this is the hotel. Let me skip to the Galata Tower view. So you can see the whole city from this tower, um, from all four directions. And when I went there, like I said, when I went there, there is the prayer call was happening, and you can hear sound coming from all the directions, which is absolutely mesmerizing. And it was raining at that time when I went. But if you go to Turkey, definitely go to this particular place. Like,
So
yeah,
the significance of Galata Tower is kind of pretty funny. Let's
yeah.
say a person is not married, and he goes on top of the Galata Tower. There's a basically prominence that that person will get married that same year, right? That's a good premonition. Also, as one of our members had pointed out, this Galata Tower, yeah, predates obviously the conquest of the Mehmed II, and yeah, it does refer to Galatians, and originally because it was Orthodoxy, and prior to that it was the Roman Empire, so it's pretty notable from the Byzantine era relic, so to speak. But again, if whoever wants to get married, you go to the top, and apparently it gives you an ability to get married the same year. Obviously, it doesn't refer to you, Noorul. You're already married, so
That's why my question was, if I'm already married, what happens then? So, okay, thanks for
just gives you
clarifying.
luck.
Okay, all right. So let me just kind of stuck in one place. Okay, so it was very crowded. There was no place for me to like squeeze in. You have to like walk through it. People are walking, and it was raining, cold rain, by the way. All right, let me skip through. Okay, so yeah, so you can see this is slightly better view. The Bosphorus and some mosque also on the far end. You can see some mosques. I think that's Hagia Sophia and the Blue Mosque at the far end. Yeah, interesting experience. At the bottom of Galata Tower, a guy was actually selling the lamb intestines. So we kind of tasted that as well. Have you done that, Zach, anytime?
Oh yeah, I'm from Uzbekistan, man. This
Oh,
is how
okay.
we do kalbasa. We stuff it with stuff
Yeah.
and we eat it. I mean, I haven't eaten it lately, obviously, but I've done it.
Okay. All right. Skipping through this, Zach has already given the information. So while I was walking to Abu Ayyub Ansari's grave, I saw this interesting thing framed on the walkway. And the driver who was with me, I asked him, what was the story behind this? So he says that when Erdogan was having his military walkthrough, a car was in the middle, so the tank actually walked over this car and it got smashed. So they put basically probably trying to teach people not to park in the wrong areas. So this is the entrance of Abu Ayyub Ansari, one of the companions of the Prophet Muhammad, who actually passed away here. So this is his grave. This is also a mosque, but also on the side there is a grave. So this is the entrance, the Turkish flag right there in the front. Let me just skip through and walk you guys in. A lot of rain, actually. So when you go inside, you have to take off your shoes. So I had to like adjust myself to take off my shoes. Um, this is the entrance of the grave where he is buried. So a lot of people stand here and pray for him. Um, these are some relics from the ancient times, things which belong to him, basically, I guess. And here you have the actual grave itself, and then people are standing there. We don't actually, in Islam, we don't pray to the grave, okay, just to clarify. So they are praying for the person who is inside the grave, the deceased person. So that, just to clarify that. He's a noble person. He's one of the companions of the Prophet, who actually was one of the reasons actually the Islam came to Turkey. So uh, that's why they are praying for him. All right, so this is the outside when we walk out. The other side is the mosque where you actually go and pray your regular prayers. And this is the exit. Okay, so here is the bazaar. This is the Grand Bazaar, actually, which is in Istanbul. There is a very popular place called Grand Bazaar. So when you come inside here, there you have a lot of people selling a lot of things. So obviously for us, the important part was the spices. So we kind of went and kind of explored certain spices, some dry fruits, and also the Turkish delight. So we kind of bought a lot of things, but very delicious. They also give you some samples to eat. Uh, you will be having a high sugar if you eat all that.
By the way, just a few tips on traveling to Istanbul. First of all, do not under any circumstance to take a cab in
Yeah,
Istanbul. They're gonna rip you off. It is the most atrocious. It's actually owned by some of very prominent people in government,
yeah,
and therefore they don't allow any of the hailing taxis like Uber, and it's very tough to get Uber in Istanbul. Second of all, do not under any circumstance go to the bazaar with a tour guide because he's going to introduce you to only
yeah,
the most expensive stores that he deals with and gets percentage of. So
yeah.
go by yourself, and it's the most important thing. So that's just a two life hack stuff that I've learned.
Yes, absolutely. And I've been to Istanbul twice, 2 times, and I hear you, and I agree with you. The taxis are horrible, and they charge you a lot. Pretty sure they ripped me off as well. So to get to the airport, he was charging like for like 300 liras for me from Istanbul, old city, all the way to the airport. And then for the whole day, he was charging me like 700 lira for the whole day, like taking me to different places. So yeah, I had that experience. So okay, this is salep. This is cooked in the sand. A very interesting kind of a flavored tea, I would say. Um, 10 lira each, and I really liked it. I mean, this is very tasty, actually. Okay, this is the Blue Mosque. Coming back to the Blue Mosque again, like I said, there was some construction going on at that time. Did I mention that? I'm not sure. Okay, so there was some construction going on, so certain portions of the Blue Mosque were closed, and this is a Friday prayer, so the people are kind of exiting the mosque after the prayer. So you can see that people are walking away. I'm trying to get through them and take some visuals of the mosque from the back. So the women pray in separate section and the men pray in the separate section. The inside of the mosque was full, so we didn't get a chance to go inside. And then so we had to pray outside. Thankfully, there was not raining at that time, so um, I got an opportunity to pray outside the mosque. And here I'm going to show you the front of the Blue Mosque. Okay, let me just skip through. Like I said, I do vlogging, so this is my vlog. But these are all personal things that I'm showing you exclusively for you, Zach. I don't usually post this on public, but it's good information for all of you. This is again the Hagia Sophia on the right hand side and the blue mosque shot on my GoPro, my two daughters here. I'm gonna skip through here. And the blue mosque is here. And Bosphorus views of the Hagia Sophia and the blue mosque. And some timelines. I like to do some timelines. It was not raining, but it was very dark, by the way. Yeah, this is the second time I went to Turkey. The first time I went and I took another video, and this is the second time. So I'm just trying to take some timelines. You can see the birds flying through in timeline. And the ship. This is a timeline. This is not actually the speed of the ship. Here, which is a food video. Yes, so this is the Turkish food that we had, and there was something very interesting. There was a food in the pot, and there was a special way of opening that pot, and I wanted to show you that here. Okay. Skip. Yeah, so this is the pot. We ordered, I think, a lamb. There's a chicken version, there's a beef version, and the lamb version of the same thing. So we ordered that pot here. So he's kind of, so he has to tap the pot in order to open it from the top. So he warms it up, and then after it gets warm, he taps it on the top like this, and he tapped it for like 3 minutes. I was like, oh. So after it opens, it pops up, and then he has some style of opening it. I personally didn't like the flavor of that particular food, but it was good presentation. It looked exciting. Okay, so that's the food. This was my presentation about Jerusalem, Hebron, and Istanbul. Now is the question time. So here is the one last video. This is just a meme. Okay, stop sharing now.
No,
right.
first of all, I want to thank you. This was really incredible. Appreciate, again, I just want to, have a caveat. I've actually persuaded Noorul to this presentation. He wanted to do it, and he said he had some reservations. So please keep the questions respectful. Everybody's opinion. This is a free country. Everybody has their own opinion. Everybody has their own views. So just be respectful, and ask away about Jerusalem, Istanbul, any kind of other questions you have, religious questions. Like one first question, I'll just kick it off. What was the importance of when you enter the mosque, you have to take the shoes off? I mean, it was always kind of an interesting aspect for me. If you could answer that question, and then please, if you want to raise your hand or ask a question, I can unmute you, and then you can ask your question. Go ahead, Noorul.
Yeah. So if you remember in the Bible, when Moses actually went to the Mount Sinai, he was asked to remove his shoes. So because it's a sacred place. So for Muslims as well, same way, for Muslims as well, the reason for removing the shoes is because we pray in that area. So if you go with a shoe, you will obviously carry some dirt along with you. So in order for hygiene concerns also, you have to remove your shoes. Plus, it's a sacred place. And I want to add why the men and the women not pray together. So we have a separate section. It can be in the back. The women pray in the back mostly. It can be on the side also, but obviously it has to be a separate area for the women to pray. So, and the reason why we don't have a mixing in during the prayer is that the goal of us going to the mosque and praying to God is basically to focus on God, and having another woman or a man next to you might be distracting to you. Especially, I would not be comfortable if my wife is standing to a very hot person. So similar way, and my wife will not be comfortable if I'm standing to a beautiful woman. So that is the reason we try not to mix up during the prayer. In certain places, when it's not possible, that is allowed, but obviously you have to wear your covering and hijab and everything else. Like in Mecca, you saw last time when I was presenting, when the circumambulation was happening, both men and women were doing it together. But during the prayers, they actually separate out and go to separate sections to pray. So the reason why we don't pray, have the shoes, is for hygiene purpose, and also it's a sacred area, and that's why we don't carry the shoes inside. And the men and women pray separately because we have to focus on God and not get distracted. Hope that helps. All right. Zach, any other questions?
Yes, I have Patty that has questions. Patty, go ahead. Ask the question about the pillars.
Yes, I was curious as to whether or what is the significance of the domes and pillars, and are there like minimum or maximum numbers of either one that are required in mosque architecture?
No, religiously, there is no specific design of a mosque that comes from the religion itself. So the only requirement that for a mosque, that it's a clean place to pray. So for us, for Muslims, Allah has made like the whole world to pray, except for places which are dirty, right? Like for example, restroom, you cannot pray inside a restroom. But if I have to pray while I'm driving also, I just stop my car on the side and I pray anywhere I want to. So similarly, the mosque does not have any specific architecture coming from the religion itself. Um, and there is no specific number of pillars or domes that you need to have. It is just like the culture of Muslims, that the architecture that has been adopted from centuries after centuries has naturally the dome. Now it's stuck with us, so we are kind of using that culture all the way through. So but traditionally it does it the architecture does not come from the religion, but it's actually coming from the culture.
Oh, thank you. I just wanted to let you know too, every time you were showing the shops with spices and
Mhm.
Turkish delights and all those things, I was literally having Pavlovic reactions. I could almost smell the spices because I do love spice shops. So thank you. Those were lovely pictures.
Yes, thank you so much.
Excellent, excellent. I guess if nobody has any questions, I have one more questions. And if you do have questions, please raise your hand. Noorul's here. Any questions? He's not going to be shy to answer. He'll answer any questions you have to the best of his ability. I guess one question is, when Mehmed II entered Constantinople. No, this is not a historical question.
Yeah.
They used to have this cistern. So across from the Hagia Sophia, cistern used to preserve the water for Romans to drink during the year. Just the water is not always available. This rains happen only sometimes a year. But when Mehmed II came, they emptied the cistern and they dried it out, and they said Muslims are only allowed to drink and then wash their hands before they go to the synagogue. Oh, sorry, before they go into the temple
Yeah.
or into the through running water. So they were able to create, I think, because of the design, and they came from a more advanced culture, they were able to create, coming from the bringing some kind of you could think of running water through the mountains.
Yeah.
So what is the significance of having, so to speak, again, I don't know much about it, but I guess namaz, and then
Yeah.
washing yourself before going to and why does it have to be a running water?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. And technical. Glad that I thought it's a historical question, but it was not a historical question. So the reason why we have to use running water, or if it's not a running water, at least it has to be purified. It is a purified water, like from the well. If a some kind of an animal falls in the well, like a dog or like a cat or something, it becomes impure. So water is a means of cleaning ourselves. And when we pray, we have to wash our hands. We have to take the water in our mouth and rinse our mouth. We have to wash our face, hands, and also feet with that water. So if the water is impure, there is a chances of having some diseases coming through from the water. The running water coming from the rivers and all the areas is naturally pure because it's running consistently, purifying itself. The process of running the water is purifying itself. But if the water is stagnated in one place, right, it's sitting there for a very long time, there is a possibility that it is impure because it's not running at all. And that's the reason we prefer to use a running water or a clean water. Does that help, Zach?
Yeah, that definitely helps, and appreciate the answer. So I unmuted everybody. Whoever wants to talk or give a comment or ask something, as long as it's respectful. Again, keep it PG-13 at this point. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone have any questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys tolerating me so much and being patient with me and letting me present. Still have 16 people watching, so that's good.
This
Yeah,
is
go ahead.
actually very interesting for most of us who are here. I think I was one of the ones who, really
Requested.
urged you to do this because, like I say, the core group here is a very curious and open-minded group. But unfortunately, because of the nature of the internet and the whole bombing culture, we have to work hard at keeping people who aren't so open-minded at bay. So sorry if we didn't do a perfect job, but I think we handled it pretty well for you, I hope.
Yes, and we'll come back to Katie one second. So I really appreciate that. The thing is that subject itself was controversial because it carries some history which is not so pleasant. And that is why I was kind of reluctant to present on this topic, because if I say something, it might hurt somebody's feelings. And I don't that's not my intention, but I have to tell what the truth is from my side. So I'm glad that you guys are open-minded, but not everybody is like that. So really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you. Yes,
Well,
go ahead.
I appreciate you're going to the effort, and I understand the sense of risk that you feel. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and this is all live on the Facebook and internet, and the next thing I know is that I'm getting banned from Israel, coming to Israel. So it might happen. So just to let you know, India is kind of adopting the strategy that Israel kind of is using nowadays. And because Muslims are I come from India, so Muslims are like outsiders. They come from northern Middle East kind of section. So we are kind of settlers there. So you have to go back from India. So basically that's the same concept, which is now India adopting, and it's a very concerning matter for us. Anyways, I just wanted to add that. Katie, please go ahead, ask your question. And Sarah after that. Yeah.
I have a comment and then a question. I know sometimes for churches, they use the dome to kind of like visualize heaven, and the corners to visualize like the four corners, like the earth, like the heaven and the earth, the division of heaven and earth. And then my question would be, can you explain a little bit more? I noticed a pattern of the patterns on the wall, like when you go in, and I can't describe the pattern, how the pattern works, and also why would Israel ban you? I'm curious why they would, other than that you're having to go through their checkpoints. I'm curious.
Well, that's just a thinking that I have, that if I speak against a country, there is a possibility that they will not like me and they might end up barging me from the country. It has happened in India with a lot of people. I have known some scholars who are actually banned from India, and the reason is that they spoke what is history, and some people like in the government don't like it, and therefore they are banned. So my comment was basically, if this video goes to some government official and they might ban me from the country. That's just the thing. It's just a thinking I have, but it may not happen, obviously, but that's just thinking. So as far as the calligraphy that you saw in the pictures, maybe I can pull back some pictures here. Let me go to the pictures. So if I go here, yeah, so if you see here very closely, okay, it says, starting from this point, the dot here that you see, it's a stop sign. So it says Bismillah Rahman Rahim, which means I begin with the name of God. Okay, Arabic, it says Bismillah Rahman Rahim. So you as a foreigner will not be able to understand what is written here, because it's all in a different language. These are probably verses from the Holy Quran, or from the Hadith, which is the traditions of the Prophet, his sayings and his, mostly this is probably from the Holy Quran. So me being a little bit of Arabic reader, I know what it's me. I can read here very clearly. So is the question relevant to this, or you're talking about something else? Katie, just want to make sure.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, trying to just
Yeah,
the calligraphy and because it's kind of patterned. I don't.
and here you can see here the details of the calligraphy. In this detail, even I cannot read a lot of things, but I can read this one here. It says Allah, which means God. So it's a very beautiful way of writing Arabic. It's not a traditional way of writing it, but Muslims have perfected this writing, and it's beautiful to see as well as read as well at the same time. Hopefully that helps you. Does that answer your question, Katie? I just want to make sure.
Yes, I had not noticed when I looked at it. I had not noticed there were letters in there.
Yeah, there you go. Here's another one.
So it seems nobody has a question. I have one simple question. I know you haven't answered the Hagia Sophia, but when, again, this is going to go from history. I don't know. I'm like a storyteller here. Sorry. So basically, Mehmed II, when he entered and he converted Muslim, the Hagia Sophia into the mosque, you're not allowed to have a depiction of the humans anywhere in the mosque, but there was two images of again. I'm sorry. Who's talking? Sorry. I didn't mute. Okay. So there was two images of, I guess, the angels and Gabriel on top of the mosque. He allowed it to remain, even though it turned into a mosque. Do you know what's the images of why you're not? And also, another example I'm going to give. I'm from Uzbekistan, and one of the leaders in Uzbekistan was Timur Lane. He was one of the conquerors, and at one point had more land than anybody, more than Genghis Khan. And he also had images of animals on the mosques, which is not allowed. What is the significance of not allowing to depict the human or animals anywhere in the mosques, either in engravings or inside the mosques? Can you talk about it? Sorry.
Yeah. So there are two sources of information for us to practice Islam. One is the Quran, which is the word of God, and second one is the teachings and the narrations of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, right? So which is known as the Hadith. So according to one of the Hadith of the Prophet Muhammad, that he actually forbade drawing images of like living beings, like human beings, and also animals. And that is the very reason those are not allowed. Although some people do it, but traditionally it's not allowed. And placing that inside a mosque is actually very questionable. So anybody who does that, because when you put an image inside a mosque, so what happens is we bow down, right? And we bow down to nobody, right? We bow down to no image. We bow down to only God. And our perception is that God is watching us. So the image is not there. Only you will probably see some calligraphy, the names of God written somewhere. That is the only things which are allowed. The calligraphy is allowed, the words is allowed, the verses of the Quran is allowed, but the images is not allowed, because we don't pray to images. We don't pray to idols or any kind of a living thing or or an animal. We pray to only one God who is unseen. So God is unseen, and therefore we direct our prayer to Him. And even the pictures, or like for example, if I go to Saudi Arabia, went to the Masjid al-Haram, there is a separate section for the office, like the administrative people. Inside that office, there is the picture of the king is there. That's totally fine, because it's a separate section. It's not part of like a mosque. But inside, when you go inside the mosque, everything is open. The only thing that you might see is the calligraphy. So definitely, anybody who puts images in the mosque, that's questionable, and they should not be allowed, and Muslims are against all that. Probably not sure why that a sultan actually had images, but it's good thing that people actually called out and they got removed. So does that answer your question, Zach, or no? Or Sarah had a question actually, by the way, but I want to make sure, Zach, does that answer your question before I go on?
Yes, very much so. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead. Sarah, please. Sorry for the wait.
Since you were talking about the importance of being unprejudiced and open to other opinions, I wanted to mention that the northernmost Muslim shrine to an Islam saint that I know of is in Budapest, Hungary.
Okay.
There are many minarets that are even further north. I don't know about today, and I'm not going to go to current day politics, but there pilgrims to that tomb were very welcome when I was there. It was, I didn't see a lot of activity, but the tomb was certainly well protected and not treated disrespectfully at all. And the minarets that remain might be next to a church or something. Some buildings may have been turned into museums, but they're not treated disrespectfully. So it's not Hungarians, like my husband, remember growing up in school, remembering that they were occupied for a long time by the Ottoman Empire. That's a fact. It's not, it doesn't have to lead to prejudice or anger, or it's just a historical fact. It happened. That's my comment.
Yeah, sure. Like I showed you one video where I actually show you the grave of Abu Ayyub Ansari, one of the companions of the Prophet. So the grave is outside the mosque. It's not inside the mosque. People go and show respect to the grave. They pray for him. That is perfectly fine. The only thing that Muslims are not allowed to do is pray to the grave, like bowing down to the grave and show him kind of a respect which is supposed to be given to God, cannot be given to a human being. So that kind of the only thing which is not allowed. So any kind of worship which is directed towards a living thing, a creation, is not allowed. Only the worship that is allowed is to the creator, which is unseen. Yep. Thank you.
I said pilgrims. I didn't mean praying to the saint who's buried there. I wasn't applying that.
Yeah, sure. I just wanted to add some information apart from what you said. All right. Yes, Katie, you got it.
Yeah, that's there's so much hate in the world that's going on right now. We're literally at this point, God forbid, facing a potential, maybe the end of the world because of the nuclear. Hopefully it would not happen, but obviously with Ukrainian Russian conflict, this is really, really dangerous. And so there's it's good that we have programs like this to kind of unite us, hear different opinions, and whether you accept it or not, it is people's opinion, and it is what makes us people. And I'm glad that we live in this country. We can express it. We lived in Russia, for example, Noorul had said, if I'm said a couple of bad words about Russia, I can't enter the country anymore. So as the India said, and other countries, that should not have happened. In the United States, people say plenty of things, and people can come to this country and express their opinion as long as they don't harm others, their opinion. And It's respected just like everyone else, and we feel as being part of the free world. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Somebody wanted to.
Yeah, I see that there's Otili Bello is unmuted, so maybe there is a question from him or her. I don't know. By the name, I cannot make out. I'm reading the comments in this in the chat also. I really appreciate the feedback that I'm getting. Thank you so much for all the, it encourages me actually to do better. So thank you.
I mean, this was excellent. So the major thing you didn't mention about the Istanbul, and I guess you probably have noticed it, of the treatment of animals there. It is so amazing. I mean, did you see all those dogs and cats in the streets?
Yeah.
I was surprised that and kind of humbled by the fact how people feed stray animals and treat them as their own, and everybody's kind of fine with it. Animals come into the restaurants and they get fed. We don't see it in this country. A lot of the stray dogs or stray cats, being given to shelter, and then they either put them away if they're not getting adopted. So it's very progressive in that respect. Yeah, I loved it in Istanbul. I don't know. Did you live on the Asian side or you lived on the European side?
I lived in proper Istanbul, the old city.
Okay, so you were on the
Asian side.
Asian side, yeah. I stayed on the Asian side. I kind of found the hotels much cheaper and better service. The only problem was, again, crossing into the European side using a taxi. And on several occasions, I would cross the bridge. It would cost, let's say, 25, dinaris or whatever. And then I cross the bridge. All of a sudden, the taxi arrives and he tells, I know what the price tag is. It says 60, whatever, dinaris. And then, and then he goes, the taxi on top of it, you have to also give me 25% tip. I was like, where does it say that? No, but because across the bridge is more expensive. What do you mean? The bridge had changed the price as we were crossing it? So it's quite I felt pretty I haven't felt like that since living in Uzbekistan, where there's a lot of corruption, and I don't feel Turkey is part of the the world. It's a very developed country, so that part of was confusing, because everywhere else you went. By the way, if you ever guys go to Istanbul, always get the historical pass. It lets you take you through all the history monuments using one price. Let's say it's going to be 90 euros. If you go to individual historical monument like Topkapi or Blue Mosque, or if you go to the more modern Sultanate Palace, I think it's Bahçe something it's called. The buses will take you for free with that pass, and it's quite a ways away, right? So it's like a hop off, hop on, and plus it's entrance to different monuments with one ticket, except of going to Hagia Sophia will cost you 25 euros, let's say, another 5 years for Blue Mosque, and so forth, so on. Sister, another 5 miles. This is just one price. You pay for all, and you can do it online, and it's cheap. And the tour guides are free, by the way, so you could just join any group. They'll tell you at 9 o'clock we get together, we go to Hagia Sophia, you go with them, or they're taking you to a bazaar. Don't use their suggestion to go to any kind of stores, because tour guides actually are getting a percentage of those stores. You just go to the store right next door, it will be 40% cheaper for the same spices, stuff like that. So just a life hack.
Yeah, and they don't take credit cards, by the way. You have to carry cash, and it's so annoying. And the person who actually dropped me from the airport to the hotel, he didn't take my machine is not working. I mean, he's just lying basically. So he wanted me to give him cash. So I guess that's the way they work, I guess. So, and yeah, having no Uber and no app, kind of a feature there makes it more difficult to negotiate, And like you said, 25 lira extra for crossing the bridge, that's pretty normal out there.
Yeah. And the funny thing was, as I arrived at the hotel, since I didn't speak Turkish, I was talking English to the concierge in the hotel. The hotel concierge came out and was talking to a taxi driver. Taxi driver basically told him to shut up. I'm charging what I want. So it's completely they're authorized to do whatever they want. It's like, I'm not letting this guy go until he pay. I was like, I'm just principal of me. I'm not paying. Because the concierge goes, I would suggest if you want to enter this hotel, you have to pay.
Yeah, and they give you their number as well if they want you to tour around, right? So the guy who dropped me was very rude, so I didn't call him back. But eventually I found somebody who was very very respectful. So I traveled with him. But obviously he was charging me more, but but at least I was getting the service that I wanted. So I actually don't mind paying extra if I'm getting respect and also what I want. So yeah, that's my
Yeah, that's
experience.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That same year, I went to Uzbekistan, which is my home country. And I'm not trying to, convey that this is, a good country to work. First of all, the food is 10 times cheaper than Turkey to begin with. Second of all, they have Uber or they have Yandex. They have 15 hailing apps. And if, let's say, and it will cost you for a fraction of price. Let's say from airport to your hotel will cost you $20. They charge you $3. And it's laughable. For the whole time I spent 10 days in Uzbekistan, I counted, I spent $40 on taxi, riding me in all 3 seats. So it's unimaginable. The whole world is so much more advanced, and Turkey is a million times more advanced than Uzbekistan. But still, Uzbekistan in that regard, app-wise, is much, much more advanced and is not as bad as far as the taxes. And let me tell you, if you don't bring your own car, if there's not such a good public service, this is your lifeline, because if you want to get somewhere quick, taxes are there. And in Uzbekistan, it gets within 2 minutes. If you don't get the service in 2 minutes, yeah, I'd really be surprised. In Turkey, they actually have spots where you have to go and get taxi. They don't come to you. There's like 15 to 20 spots near your neighborhood, and they have to kind of like go to this guy. It's like, oh, would you like to give me a ride or whatever? You can't just go out there. I mean, it's very rarely you hailing a taxi. It's people standing in the spots, like old times New York. Yep. It's like, hey, well, can you take me to, let's say, Top Capet, and they'll take you there, or they can refuse, stuff like that. So it's like New York 20 years ago.
Yep, completely agree. All right. Any other questions from anybody or comments?
I don't see any other questions. Anybody wants to say something? Let's comment.
What would you like to see next?
Oh, what do you have next? What about India?
No. Yeah, maybe I can do India next time.
Can you do Taj Mahal? Can you do, the life of, devout Muslim in India? It would be interesting. I'm down. There's 250 million Muslims living in India out of what, 1.2 billion. That's a large percentage. That's 25% of 25% of the country.
Yeah. The thing is, I know the history of India because I come from there, but I have to organize and make presentation. That takes time. So when I'm ready, I'll let you know. So
yeah, of course.
Has anybody done India as a history for your group so far? No.
Only we did the invasion of India from the historical point of 15th, 14th century. So we didn't do anything modern. So you can do, you have a free way.
Modern?
You have about six centuries of free material. We didn't do it. We didn't do. You can go back. If you want to start with Alexander the Great, I'll be definitely thankful. If you want to do a little bit of history and then dive into modern and do more about modern, we're down. And then maybe with some pictures, if you visited, obviously, food is always welcome. You can talk about it a little bit, tandoori chicken, tikka masala. Oh my God, I'm dying to to know how it's cooked, and butter chicken. A little bit of ingredients. Even if you don't want to do even cooking lessons, you let me know. I'm down.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, we can plan on that. Yeah, so I have because you won't believe I was in India last week. Actually,
what?
I went for 7 days and I came back to attend a wedding. I came back. So I have a lot of visuals from India because, I travel a lot to India and Saudi Arabia, right? So these are the 2 countries I go very often. So yeah, I can share a lot of good information. I do have visuals of Taj Mahal also. So we can do that.
Yeah, down. And then, and then I can coordinate. We can coordinate with if you want Richard on, or whoever you want on, and we can have really good. But you're obviously more knowledgeable about this stuff than we are. So you definitely
For
you let me
Istanbul,
know.
for Istanbul, forgive me, I don't have a lot of history information, but I hope I thought Richard would have been here, would have been very nice, but I think you backed up so very nicely. Thank you so much.
I try. I wasn't. I'm not. I'm nowhere near that guy. He pretends to be not historian. He's a lawyer by trade, but I
Yeah.
think he was born in the wrong profession. I mean,
Yeah.
he definitely is a natural, and he knows how to, just almost like you know how to give a material, and you're passionate about it. And I really, also if you want to, maybe put the your YouTube channel or wherever your blogging channel right now is a link, so people can just go in and see all this stuff as well. You can
Yeah.
I can send you a video, you can upload on your channel as well as my channel. So it'd be cool, kind of like have a collaboration like that. And as you
Yeah.
go to India, if you want to do like bazaar tour and just do a live
Yeah.
tour, I'm so down to it. I want people would be like, go to a restaurant, what's the service like? It's amazing. To me, the culture, like, I mean, you're going to a mosque in India, how many people get in. It's interesting, to listen to hear it. And I know the services going on in Hindu is in English. It's like I always like to understand, what's the calamity, and what's the relationship, how the people live. There's obviously different levels of middle class, poorer
Yeah.
people, more richer, so you always want to hear that, how the professionals live in India. Now that's a
Yeah.
high tech world. You're in technology, so Gujarat and all that other stuff. I don't know what area you go to, but so it's
Right.
interesting.
This is my travel history I'm showing on the screen right now. So I've been to all these places since few years. After COVID, I stopped, but I started again last week back to India.
Nice.
So I
Hyderabad.
have some Italy, Rome, Venice, and Vatican City, and Dubai and France. So I have some vlogs of that, but those are all personal vlogs, but I have to like trim it down for this group. So yeah, but it takes time, like I said, it takes time to prepare all that.
Oh yeah, no, you let me know. I mean, I'm not, we're
Yeah.
almost down, and I'll get Robert involved. Obviously, he's going to be down to doing India for sure.
Yeah. Can you follow up with Robert? I just want to mention a couple of things. So I want to do the Makkah Medina with him, but
Yes.
I don't want to do the Jerusalem Istanbul because of the nature of the presentation.
Okay.
And he has a larger audience. And
Right.
also third thing I want to ask is Dr. Sabil was asking if we can do a Muslim Jesus in December. So
Okay.
if you are up for it, please let me know and we can schedule something.
Yeah. So for both groups, Muslims is just for both groups.
Both
Robert
group,
and
both.
okay.
For
I
your
will.
side, yeah.
I actually asked Robert. He goes, "I'm collaborating with Noorul already." I was like, "I know, but I'm
Yeah.
just reminding you." He got a little annoyed by the fact that I'm trying to help you out a little bit, but it's okay. I mean, he wants I will remind him. He's okay. Sometimes he's cool, sometimes he's not. It's fine. Mostly he's cool. Mostly he's cool in things, and he loves your presentations. You and Dr. Noorul,
Dr. Sabil.
Dr. Sabil. You're Dr. Noorul and he's Dr.
No,
Sabil.
I'm not. I'm an IT guy. I'm from IT. So I'm not a doctor at all. Maybe
Well,
software doctor, maybe.
yeah, we go. Software, that's important. That's important.
Anyways, Patty says she's interested in Muslim Jesus. So there is already some audience for you. So we can
Oh,
plan for
forget
that.
it. There's gonna be if Patty's interested, there's gonna be at least 500 people on. And it's always good to have Zoom with also in-person event. I just wanted to remind next week on Friday, and I know Noorul, you're not here, but we like to get together once in a while in New York, but maybe at some point you can organize something like a visit of the mosque in Chicago, and we can send you some people may be traveling and want to see, we get like a smaller group, like 20, 30 people, and we go visit a museum like this Friday. We're going to go to the New York Historical Society, and we're going to visit a particular exhibit about the Salem massacre. So it'd be interesting to see from that standpoint. And then after that, we're going to a Mediterranean restaurant called Local Mediterranean, LOCAL, LOCAL, and where we sit down and just talk and chat. How was the museum experience and stuff like that. So I wish Noorul was here, so come and to New
Yeah,
York.
maybe in the
and,
future I'll plan for it. So whenever you have something special, I'll try to plan for it. No problem.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. I think we're actually thinking of doing Muhammad tour, so that'll be really cool. We go to the Metropolitan Museum of Arts, and there's the whole section to the Arab and Muslim culture, historical, obviously, from the 700s all the way to modern times. And then Richard takes us through all the exhibits, and he knows everything by heart. I mean, this guy is just walking encyclopedia. And then after that, we go to either Mediterranean restaurant or Turkish restaurant, something in that regard, and it's right
Sure.
nearby. It's like we walk together, 20, 30 people walk together, we sit down and talk, and that's pretty cool. Sometimes we do, like on 22nd, we're actually doing Indian restaurants. So if you're in town, you let me know.
Okay, sure, I will do that. Anyways, thank you everybody for listening to me and being patient with me and giving me this opportunity. If you do have any questions for my previous presentation or this presentation, always feel free to reach out. I'm on the Meetup, website. Connect with me on Facebook if you want to. Yeah, try to communicate with me anyways.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice the rest of the weekend, and thank you, Noorul. And I'll speak to Robert.